not to take action if you're still saying, well, I'm getting it set up. I want to have it set up perfectly. So planning is good to a certain extent, but with me, I'm not the type of guy that has 20 years worth of plans worked out, and I try to get really specific with it because I know that I can't control everything. I have a broad vision for what I want to do, but who knows? Like, I've changed a lot even in the last year when I look at the content I wrote a year ago. So how am I going to predict 20 years down the road to plan?
Sure. Fair enough. Now, when you were doing your business, you probably have discovered different things that, could actually, create problems for an entrepreneur. What do you think maybe some of the reasons are that entrepreneurs have just decided to give up, or that they fail, particularly like in the first, say, 1 to 3 years?
I think humans are not patient by nature. And full disclosure, I'm one of the least patient humans out there, so I'm not preaching from a soapbox. I think that people nowadays are looking online. They're seeing these ads, these promises of make $1 million in 7 days, working 5 minutes a day, guaranteed from your hot tub. And they're seeing all these huge, big promises, and they get actually started working on their business, and they realize, oh, gee, that's not a get rich quick type thing.
Sure.
So I always, when I'm working with coaches, and this isn't me trying to be pessimistic, I try to be realistic and tell them, hey, you're going to go through some dark days. There's going to be days you're going to feel like quitting. You're not going to make $1 million in your first month or something like that, but stick with it, because I don't want them to have a situation where they get hit with adversity and then all of a sudden they feel like quitting because they expected it all to be sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows, which it's not in business.
Yeah, and really, as far as entrepreneurs, 90% end up, not making it, unfortunately. And if it was easy, everyone would do it. But it is very difficult, and you have to be the right kind of person to be able to face that adversity. And
and you made a good point where you said if it was easy, everyone would do it, and it wouldn't be fun in that case. Like me personally, I like that there's a challenge because it makes surprise worth it. If everybody was doing it and it was very easy to have a successful business, all the fun would be taken out of it. So I like that part of it.
Yep, I do too. So as far as in your growth in business, you probably discovered some roadblocks that you've come across, and then also resources that have been very beneficial to you. What would be number one part of the question is that some of the roadblocks you would warn a new person to look out for, and then the second half of that is the resources that you've been able to take advantage of that you'd like to kind of put out there for them to take advantage of.
Well, a really big roadblock, and this is a sneaky one, by the way, is the time that can be spent on social media and on your smartphone. So I love social media. That's how I built my business, and it's been organic from the ground up through that. But you could very easily get sucked into the rabbit hole if you pop on Facebook and you think, oh, I'm going to take 2 minutes to answer James' message. And then all of a sudden you get checking your news feed, and then it becomes 20 or 30 minutes or more. Mm-hmm. So a lot of entrepreneurs are hanging around on Facebook because they're telling themselves, well, I have to do this for my business. And no, you don't. I'm very active on there, but I've gotten much better at, I post something and then I get the heck out. I call it a drive-by posting. I post it and I'm out of there. I close the browser and I don't want to get caught up, especially, I don't know how you do it in the States. You finished your midterms recently. I was at a speaking gig in North Carolina. I was like, oh my God, I'm Canadian. I'm sick of hearing about your midterms because that was right at the time when the midterms were going on in early November. And you could get sucked into fighting with strangers over about politics. Strangers are 1,000 miles away, you'll never even meet, and then it zaps your energy, your time, and everything else. So that's the answer to the first part of your question. I think that's a roadblock or challenge. It's a very deceptive one because people are being told they need these tools like social media. I'm all for being active on social media, but not 168 hours a week. You got to know where to draw the line there. And then the second part for resource that can help with that is there's actually tools now that can block your Facebook newsfeed, for example. There's one for Google Chrome. It's called Newsfeed Eradicator. And if you install that plugin, when you go to your Facebook, you can still access your messages. You'll see them there, but you don't have the busy newsfeed. I think it puts a motivational quote in the place where the newsfeed normally is. So Newsfeed Eradicator is something I'm getting some of my clients to use just to keep the horse blinders on, right, and not get distracted.
Now, is that something you can kind of turn on and off at appropriate times, like for
Yep.
the main part?
Now, in full disclosure, I'm not using it currently. And the main reason why I would if I could, but the main reason I can't use it is I like to stalk my clients in a good way. I like to keep an eye on them, see what they're posting, say on Facebook and things. I need to see their content. So for me, I can't do it because then I wouldn't be able to see my clients' stuff. But for most people, you could use that. You could block that news feed and still do what you have to do on social media. And if the world's going to blow up, if North Korea is going to nuke you or something, you're going to hear about it somehow. And you don't worry about not having your Facebook news feed there.
Okay. Now, as far as personal values and belief systems, how have you incorporated that into your business, or do you keep that very separate from your business?
Well, we were just talking about politics, and that's interesting because politically speaking, I lean right. I like individual responsibility. I like government staying out of my business. Sounds funny. I'm Canadian. I'm sure you guys all think we're all socialists. I'm the weird Canadian that wants government out of my pocket, and I believe in individual rights. Maybe I was born in the wrong country. I should have been born in the States or in Texas. But that belief system does come across with some of my content. I'm not there posting politics 24/7, but I've often in the coaching world, I feel like a conservative in Hollywood, there's two or three conservatives who admit they're conservatives in Hollywood. You got John Boyd, James Wood. I don't know who there might be one or two others. 99.9% of Hollywood's far left. And I feel the coaching world is like that sometimes. But what I'm discovering behind the scenes when I post something out there about individual responsibility or, different things like that, and my beliefs seep out into that content. I've had coaches message me privately, "Hey, Marc, I really enjoyed that post. I couldn't say anything on the post because I don't want to scare away business, but I agree with you." So the older I've gotten, I've taken the filter off. I don't want to pretend to be someone that I'm not. So you're not going to see me wearing a Hillary 2016 or a 2020 shirt or hat, if she runs with it. That's just not me. And I just kind of call it like I see it. And if someone doesn't want to do business with me, that's fine. In business, it's really important to polarize people. You don't want to shoot to have everyone like you, which a lot of entrepreneurs try to do. And they're so afraid of scaring off anyone. And this goes into something else, and I'm sorry to turn this into political stuff, but this, I think, is a good point. I posted something yesterday on social media because all these people were attacking George H.W. Bush, who passed away recently. And they were saying things that weren't very nice about this guy who had died. Now, I'm the type of person I say, you don't attack someone who's dead, right? There are also a bunch of people who were giddy about Sarah Palin's house being lost in the avalanche in Alaska. And I'm like, I don't care where you stand politically, that's classless. And if you do that, you need to look in the mirror, because I think that's distasteful, it's classless, and it's not good. And I put that out there. Now, a lot of people would hold off putting out a post like that because they wouldn't want to offend people or whatever. I'm like, no, that's a belief system for me. That's just being a kind, decent human being saying that. I'm not going to feel bad about putting that out there. That's a really long answer to your question, James, but that's just a few thoughts about beliefs, because I do have strong beliefs.
Yeah, and I totally agree with you, because it's really not possible to fish in the ocean and get a good catch. You have to narrow down and as that analogy could go, fishing in a pond instead of the ocean, because you're going to have a lot more success. And being yourself, being transparent and honest with who you are, and also the people that you're attracting, you're going to attract the correct people. And so, that's why, I don't beat around the bush about where I stand, either politically or, personally and even spiritually. People know exactly where I stand. And if they have a problem with that, then they're not a good fit. And I'm okay with that. I can only save so many people in the day, and there's only so much I can do in the week. And so, it helps to naturally and organically weed out people that I should not be doing business with. So I'm totally
Yeah, and like I mentioned before, there's 7.5 billion people in the world. You could tick off 7.4 billion people in the world and still have a very big pool of potential clients. So that
Sure.
being said, some of my clients, one of my clients, I love her. She's great. We have a great time on a past client. I've had great times on our sessions and stuff. She is a far left Californian who we have some interesting discussions about that, but we get
Mhm.
along because we're focusing on the business, and we don't, nowadays it's so politicized that it's like, oh my God, the other side, liberals are evil, conservatives are evil, and all this stuff. I have people that I work with who are all over the political spectrum. And
Yeah.
I think that business is business. And if someone's not going to work with me because of a post I put up, then that's fine. I don't want to work with someone who's that intolerant, because I think I'm pretty tolerant of people's political views and other beliefs as well. At the end of the day, I look at, okay, what's good for my business? What's good for your business? Can we work together?
Yeah. Yeah. That's a fair point. What's something that maybe earlier in life you chose to not do that you've kind of looked back and said, I might should have done that or should have done that sooner?
Well, we're in Canada, so it's a bilingual country. Even though my name's spelt Marc with a C, I am not bilingual. I can't speak French. I can speak a little bit because I took it throughout school. If I could go back in time, hop in the DeLorean, I would get into French immersion and really learn that language. And not that I would actually need it for business. I'm not running for prime minister or anything in Canada either. Just me personally, I would like to. That would be something I would change. My son is in French immersion, and he's getting really good at it. So I'm very glad that he's taking to French and liking it as well. If I were in the States, it would probably be Spanish. I think it's good to learn another language and challenge yourself that way as well. So that's something I would change. It's not business necessarily, but something for personal development that I regret.
Okay. Now, when you were starting your business, entering the entrepreneurship world, what was maybe something that you had some hurdles that you had to face and overcome during that time?
Well, when I started in real estate, my past life, I was 21 years old and I looked about 15 years old. So I came across an old business card and I looked about 80 pounds. My face was shrunk in. I was thinking,
Mhm.
holy, get this kid a sandwich, right? And I can't believe anyone actually listed their house with me because I look so young. And that was a hurdle when I was in real estate years ago. Was I looked very young coming out of university. I didn't have any money. I didn't have connections, or at least not connections that were in the real estate world buying and selling houses. So I had to build it up from scratch. When I started my coaching business in 2014, the challenge was different. I no longer looked as young because I had some gray hairs and the wrinkles that come with life and experience. But the challenge I had when I started my coaching business was I was just a few years out of that a business closure in real estate. So the little voice in my head thinking, oh, who are you to be a business coach? You just went through this ugly, messy business closure. And who are you to tell anybody or to help anyone with their business? But I pushed that voice out because I told myself, well, hey, that actually makes me a better coach. I can empathize with people. I've had, the challenges, the trials, the tribulations, the journey, the entrepreneurial journey with it. But it was a different challenge when I started with coaching. Ironically, the failure in real estate helped my coaching business because I'd been through so much in real estate and learned so much that I think it helped me with persistence and everything when I started coaching. I wasn't under the illusion it was going to be easy. And I thought, well, hey, look, I built up a business before in real estate. I can do it with coaching as well. And so it's funny, at the time when it happened, I wouldn't have thought it was a good thing with my real estate business closing, but it has helped me now and later in life.
Okay. Now, was that realization something that you sort of stumbled upon, or was it kind of obvious? When you had that maybe a epiphany, if you will.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any time when the skies opened up, and the heavens sang and anything like that. But I realized early on, take for example, the first 6 months of coaching,
Mhm.
like any new business, I was working my butt off and I wasn't getting as much in terms of monetary and compensation as I would have liked. But I told myself, remember what the first 6 months were like in real estate, Mark. Same thing. I was priming the pump. I was just busting my butt and I knew things would come. And I told myself that when I was coaching, and sure enough, things started to get rolling with it. It's funny because you wouldn't think real estate and coaching have much in common, but there's actually a lot of similarities when you're building your business up, I found. with it.
Yeah.
So I told myself it wasn't an exact moment, but through